Hi, I'm Helene Brenner.
And I'm Larry Ledich.
Welcome to The Art of Feeling.
Have you gone from staring into each other's eyes to staring at your iPhones? How can you get that close, connected feeling back?
The good news is, if you have a basically good relationship, you can get that feeling of emotional connection, even if you think your partner isn't a big fan of sharing feelings.
But in order to do that, it helps a lot to understand what allows emotional closeness and intimacy to happen. There are three keys that go into emotional closeness and intimacy: emotional awareness, emotional self-connection, and emotional safety. Emotional awareness is the ability to know what you're feeling. It's hard to feel emotionally close if you don't know what you're feeling. Emotional self-connection is emotional awareness, but deeper. It's not only knowing what you're feeling, it's feeling what you're feeling, connecting with the feeling in your body and being able to share it in a way that your partner can hear it and take it in. It's talking from your feelings, not about them.
And then there's emotional safety, which people often underestimate how important it is. It takes a lot of safety to open up and be vulnerable to your partner, especially because they're so important to you. That's one of the reasons people start talking more about ordinary routine things. Emotional safety isn't something you either have or you don't have. Some people in relationships maybe rarely have it, but for most of us, we can feel safe most of the time. But when our partner gets angry or upset with us, or when we feel vulnerable to share something with them, we may feel unsafe.
And when someone doesn't feel emotionally safe with their partner, it's almost inevitable that they'll either withdraw or they'll get angry and self-protective. It's the old fight or flight. And that causes the other person to feel unsafe, so they begin to withdraw or get angry. And then you lose the closeness you both truly want.
Exactly. In this episode, we're going to talk about how you can increase emotional safety and talk from your feelings to get back emotional intimacy.
Step 1. Create a safe space and time for reconnection.
So often, the only time we talk about how we're feeling in our relationship is when we're upset, when there's a disconnect. There's nothing wrong with sharing those feelings, but if that's the only time when you try to emotionally connect, your partner is likely to be braced, expecting that you're going to come down on them or tell them they're being wrong. Instead, invite your partner to take a break with you with as little distraction as possible, just to be together and walk or talk or have a cup of tea or coffee or a glass of wine. It could be as little as even 15 minutes, but if you haven't emotionally connected in a while, that's not a time for a heavy discussion or a big confrontation. Because the more relaxed you both stay for this 15 minutes of reconnection, the more likely you'll feel closer at the end. Now that the two of you are together and relaxed, what do you do?
Step 2. Talk from your feelings, not about them.
Lots of people, especially us women, are good at talking about our feelings, but everybody has more trouble talking from them.
Right. In fact, in a lot of couples, a pattern gets established where the more emotionally expressive partner is talking a lot about what they're feeling and thinking, and the other part is doing a lot of And this is not always the woman who's the expressor. Sometimes the man's the more expressive one, and it happens in same-sex couples as well. It's a very common and normal pattern, but something's missing there. But talking from your feelings can lessen this dynamic.
But how do you talk from your feelings? There are 3 steps to do it. first, slow down the pace of your talking. It takes a little longer to really connect with your deeper feelings and share them than it does just to talk conversationally. So if you're talking at your usual pace, you're probably talking too quickly. You need to slow down to the speed of feeling.
Second, direct your attention away from your mind and down into the feelings in your body. Most of us spend so much time thinking about what we're going to say, but you don't feel with your head. So take a breath and direct your attention to the feelings you're experiencing in your body right now, especially from your throat down to your belly. That's where your feelings come from. This might sound to you like some kind of emotional yoga posture that I'm telling you about that takes 10 years to perfect, but you probably already know how to do it. The term I've heard most to describe this is dropping down. You've probably had this experience. You're talking to a friend or someone close to you, and you're just talking from your head a lot, and you're not really talking about what's really going on. And then suddenly you think this is ridiculous, and you take a breath and you drop down and you start talking in a real way. That's really all that we're talking about.
Third, don't focus on the past, focus on the present moment. A lot of times when people talk about their feelings, they're actually talking about how they felt. It's easier to talk about how you felt yesterday or a week ago, even a year ago. It's harder and more vulnerable to talk about how you feel right now.
So how do you talk right now? For example, if you haven't sat down and made a point of emotionally connecting with your partner in ages, the biggest feeling you might feel at first is nervous. So if you're really talking from your feelings, you might have to throw away what you thought you were going to say and first start out by saying something like, wow, I can't believe we're sitting down and talking like this. I actually don't know what to say.
And the interesting thing is, just like what happened, honestly, there's something really interesting and captivating when somebody talks freshly from that moment that they're actually feeling it.
Yeah, you may think you look silly or not very confident, but truthfully, you're very captivating when you talk from your feelings. That's because being authentic is powerful.
Yeah, kind of riveting even.
And openness makes others feel safer to be open. So as long as what you're saying doesn't come across as a criticism to your partner's going to notice and be affected by it.
A good thing to know is you don't have to be talking about anything deep to start talking from your feelings. You can talk about all the usual things that matter to you or to both of you. In fact, a good place to start with is a moment you enjoyed or something that touched you, since that's already talking from your feelings. It will feel different to both of you and may lead the conversation in new directions.
Make sure it's a dialogue.
Back and forth.
Yeah. Like I mentioned before, more expressive partners in relationships often get in the habit of saying what they feel, not getting much of a response, and then starting to talk again. But if you're trying to get an emotionally intimate conversation going, say just a little bit, a few sentences, and then ask, oh, and how do you feel about that? Or even, and what do you think of that?
Let me think about that. And then just wait patiently. A lot of emotionally inexpressive partners can be great at speaking everywhere else, but they can be rusty at expressing themselves to their partners. And they can even be convinced that their thoughts and feelings and opinions aren't really valued by their partner. So it actually really helps them out when you give them that space and they feel invited in. They feel like there's a pause and a space to come in. And it also helps them really feel like you mean it when you say, how do you feel or what do you think?
Right, which is incredibly important. When they do finally share something, really pause and take it in and respond to it. And if you really disagree, find a way to say that without rupturing the safety and connection between you. Practically every couple who comes to couples therapy starts out by saying, we don't know how to communicate with each other.
The art of emotional connection is the art of knowing how to talk and listen to each other in a way that brings you closer together, not further apart. When there's a disconnect, when a fight suddenly erupts, it's almost always because somebody stopped feeling emotionally safe. We're going to talk about that a lot more in future episodes. And if you'd be interested in hearing more about this, please like us or subscribe below.
It's been a joy to share this with you. Allow me to leave you with one final message. You and your partner may be going through a rough time right now. A lot of people are. But take it from us. You can get through just about anything if you make a point of staying connected. So, stay connected.